Okay, so GPT-01 dropped today. It's supposed to have better reasoning capabilities than the other models. So let's test out how well it does in fiction and compare it to GPT-4o and see how it goes. So I'm just gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Um, okay, so here is Chat Playground. Let's start out with asking it to tell us a joke. So I'm here in OpenAI's playground here. Just gonna grab a prompt I have sitting around. I'm an author writing a romance book about a baker who falls for a fireman who is called in to put out a fire in her bakery when she burns her bread. I'm writing a scene where the fireman hands the baker, Sophia, a burnt loaf he rescued from the fire. The baker replies with a funny joke to diffuse the tension. Give me 3 options for the joke. A minute. All right, I'm gonna stop it and try again. Okay. Sophia takes the charred loaf and says with a grin, well, I did ask for a crusty finish. Guess I overdid it a bit. Looks like my bread isn't just toasted, it's making a bold statement. I always aim to serve my bread hot, but this might be a little too fresh out of the oven. None of these are funny. Um, I think that this blank assistant thing might be messing things up. Let me try this again. Thinking. Okay. Well, I always wanted to add a smoky flavor to my menu. Okay, there we go. Looks like I've perfected my recipe for charcoal bread. Guess I took fire up the oven a bit too seriously, literally this time. Those are okay. Let's compare to GPT-4o. Run. I guess that's one way to achieve a smoky flavor. Looks like I really nailed that charcoal rustic bread trend, huh? Always knew my baking was on fire, but this is a bit much. I don't think O1's actually funnier. I feel like this is a tie. Okay, let's move on to another test. Here is a test about writing poetry. So I'm going to say I'm a professional poet writing an anthology of poems about nature. My audience is literary readers who appreciate sophisticated and creative poetry. Please write a free verse poem about a stream in the forest during autumn. Please avoid cliches and focus on the senses. So I'm looking for it to not say whispers of secrets, and I don't want it to say copper leaves because that's a cliche. I don't want it to say a ribbon of water flows through the forest. Under fading canopies of ochre and sienna, the stream winds softly between moss-clad stones. Sunlight fractures upon its surface, scattering shards of gold into the shadowed ferns. Birch limbs etch silhouettes on rippling glass. Water slips past roots entwined like woven secrets. A hush of wind unsettles the brittle air, carrying the loam's rich scent and whispers of rain. Leaves, veined and slender, descend in slow spirals, an auburn tapestry unfolding on the forest floor. Shadows deepen as the light retreats, and the stream murmurs onward through the quiet wood. B plus. I think it's pretty good. Nothing really surprised me except for rippling glass instead of water. Descending in slow spirals was nice. That gave me a mental image. Ochre in Sienna feels overworked to me. Like, I'm using cool words to write a poem. Loam, I appreciate. But it's a pretty forgettable poem. Did not make me feel anything. And I'm a sucker for fall, so you really have to try hard to not make me feel anything. Okay, GPT 4.0. Let's try. In the dappled understory, whoa, where the sun is a painter's whim, a stream uncoils itself, unyielding whisper, through mosaic of root and leaf. It loves mosaic and it loves whisper. I don't know why. Here, autumn dresses the world in embers. I like that better. Autumn dresses the world in embers. Not with the raucous shout of fire, but with the velvet murmur of decay. Overworked, but cool. Oak leaves unravel their hues into ochre secrets. Copper cascades kissing earth. Each a descent, a surrender. Each descent, a surrender. I feel like 4.0 has a couple more interesting ideas, but it's surrounded with more cliche. So it's like I'm offended less by the 01 one because it has less glaringly cliched things, but the 401 I feel like I could work with as a starting point a little bit better. The air here is thicker. See, that's actually a nice line. It's not pretentious, but it tells you something. Calls the blood to slow. I like that. Okay, so I'm actually gonna call 4.0 the winner of this one. Poetry. Okay, let's try something that is like a little bit more reasoning heavy so that 01 can potentially win something. So I'm gonna ask it to write a mystery plot. Okay, so here is the plot, or here's the request. Please generate a plot for a 30-chapter mystery novel based on the following inputs. Alec Fox is a retired detective living in LA. One day on his trip to his local favorite spot, Luz Donuts, he learns that all their donut holes have been stolen. Despite being retired, he decides to get involved. The story has a shocking reveal that leaves readers on the edge of their seats in this thrilling story of betrayal, found family, and love. Be sure to include 3 suspects, each with a motive and an alibi. Make sure that the true culprit is hidden in plain sight and revealed with a surprise that readers will be satisfyingly surprised by. Okay. So Alec Fox, retired detective, begins his day with a walk to Lowe's Donuts, his favorite local spot. When the owner, though, I think this is an issue. La is a last name, not a first name, as far as I'm aware. So this is like a uh, misunderstand, but that would be easy to fix. Moved by La's despair, decides to come out of retirement, investigate the theft. Okay, so Alec dusts off his detective tools. He notices there are no signs of forced entry. Alec's initial inquiries lead him to Marcus Bell, a disgruntled former employee. This has 2 sentences instead of 3. Um, so the motive for Marcus is revenge for firing him. Oh, okay, I guess this is more than 3 sentences because it's breaking out the motive and the alibi. He was working a night shift across town. Okay, and we know that he steals cash, so I like that this guy is easy to suspect. Okay, May offers to help Alec with the investigation. She's smart, resourceful, and eager to keep the family business alive. This is like not giving me unique details, really. Like, how does she approach Alec? Unclear. Second suspect. I like, though, that it's breaking up the suspects. And it's not just like 1, 2, 3. When you ask GPT 4.0 to have suspects, sometimes it'll just be like suspect 1, suspect 2, suspect 3. And it's like, no, like, make it a book, not a bulleted list. Alec learns about Sofia Rivera, the owner of the rival bakery, Sweet Delights. Business has been slow for her since Les Donuts became popular for their donut holes. So the motive is to eliminate competition. Alibi claims she was attending a pastry chef's conference out of town. Digging deeper. So they visit Sweet Delights, notice she's nervous and evasive, raising their suspicions. But yeah, this is not enough detail to write a whole chapter on. Chapter 8, the third suspect, Officer Dan Harris. Surprisingly, Alex suspects Officer Dan Harris, a local cop who frequents Les Donuts. I like that it's putting a cop there. Rumors suggest he's involved in corrupt activities, financial gain by selling the secret recipe on the black market. I feel like that is not a believable motive because if you can get the secret recipe just by stealing the donut holes, then why wouldn't you just buy some donut holes and then reverse engineer it? Like, why would you go steal it too? Alibi states he was on duty with dispatch logs to prove it. Shadows of the past. Alec grapples with memories of his past, the case that ended tragically. This comes out of nowhere. Like, why did he suddenly get remembered of his past? A clue uncovered. May discovers security footage from a neighboring store showing a shadowy figure entering Lowe's Donuts after closing. Okay. Okay, let's see where this goes. Ryan. Ryan admits he's been in financial. Who's Ryan? Did it make up a new character halfway? Oh no, okay. Alec reveals it's his estranged son. So in chapter 17, we learn that Ryan exists. I think it's not good. Like the hiding in plain sight, unless this is a distraction and he's not the actual. Okay, evidence confirms Ryan was out of the country. Okay, that's fine. Okay, May confesses she is La's daughter, not niece, and felt neglected as her mother prioritized the business over family. She orchestrated the theft to sabotage the shop and force her mother to retire. I like it. But it's misunderstanding what I mean by the hidden culprit in plain sight. That's not a chapter, it's a requirement. Alex's relationship with his son Ryan continues to heal. And then it puts a summary at the end. I'm not impressed, I'll be honest. Let's see how 4.0 compares. Now, maybe there's like new prompting methods for O1 that you have to try. Like maybe you should tell it what to think about. Maybe I should break it out more. But let's at least see if 4.0 is better. Coffee and crime. Gathering clues, call to action. Regulars encourage Alec to investigate. That's fun. That's believable. Eddie, the rival baker. Mia, the blogger. Why would. Oh, she had a feud over a negative review. That's kind of fun. Increases his business. That's easy. Tom, the accountant, discovered discrepancy in her accounts and Tom feared being caught. But then how is that a motive for stealing donut holes? Begins verifying the alibis, following Mia's trail. Notice Alec watches her stream, notices some inconsistencies. This is really vague. Discovers she has a hidden talent for sleight of hand. That's kind of nice, but why is she stealing donut holes? And what are the inconsistencies? Attends the family gathering Tom claimed to be at. Doesn't really make sense. I guess maybe it's a poker night. Maybe people come in and out all the time during the poker night. Surprise visit. Gathering storm. Okay, let's see who is the culprit. The final piece of the puzzle. Alec realizes the clues point towards a personal vendetta rather than business rivalry. Hidden letter reveals Eddie's unspoken love, hidden under layers of anger. Alec hosts a public meeting where he dramatically reveals all the clues. One by one, he eliminates Mia and Tom, pointing out the inconsistencies and proving their innocence. And then apparently in a separate chapter, this should really be the same chapter, I think, Alec reveals the true culprit, Lisa, wanted to frame Eddie in an effort to ruin him out of betrayal from their past. So Lisa, the owner, wanted to frame Eddie the rival baker. I like it as a reveal. I guess it's a little, maybe it's a little too obvious. That's a surprise is that the owner did it. So um, but overall, like just looking at a glance, I want to be quick here for the sake of a YouTube video, but I want to say 4.0 is like as good or better than 0.1, at least for this. Why don't we give 0.1 a second attempt before we declare it dead on arrival? Does it do a better job if given a second chance? I'm a little disappointed, to be honest. I thought that it would, with its extra reasoning, it would say, okay, well, in order for this to be convincing, this has to happen here. And then I thought that we would get kind of an impression of more layers and more sophistication. I didn't really see that. Thinking. It might be that when I hit stop and start, maybe I messed it up somehow. So let's try to be patient here and see if we get a better result. Grr. Yeah, it gets stuck like 50% of the time. Let me try like properly resetting it. Close, paste, get this out of the way, run. You can do it. Okay, here we go. A sweet routine. Alec Fox, a retired detective, enjoys his peaceful life in Los Angeles. Every morning he visits Luz Donuts. Again with the La Nguyen. The La Wen. Empty display. Luz distraught. Family's famous donut holes. Shop's signature item have been stolen. This is not a full chapter. A plea for help. Gracefully accepts. Scene of the crime. Investigates for clues. First suspect. Sammy Sweet Tooth Johnson, the owner of a rival bakery. Always envied Luz's success with her donut holes. Undercut the competition. He claims he was catering a private event. He observes Sammy's nervous demeanor, notices a batch of donut holes strikingly similar to Luz. He collects a sample. Karen O'Malley, a former employee of Luz Donuts, left on bad terms after a dispute over recipes, revenge against Love for firing her. She was out of town visiting her sick mother, troubled past. Underwent surgery. Officer Mike Davis, financial gain, gambling debts have put him in a desperate situation. How does he get the money from the donuts? That's my question. Selling them on a secondary donut market to the other police officers? I kind of like the idea that he's selling them for a profit to the other police officers. But yeah, weak. An officer's secrets, shady characters might be involved in more than just petty theft. Using the donuts as a cover, stealing donuts is a cover. He's putting drugs in the donuts. Hidden motives. Ruby, Emily, can you help me? Okay. Familiar ingredient. It's unique ingredient. Oh, unusual substance. Someone confirms there's a flower trail. Loyal employee, Maya Lin. Took 13 chapters to get to a loyal employee. Heartfelt conversation. Alec confronts Maya. She'd missed her financial struggles. Again, the financial struggles and the stealing the donut holes thing just doesn't quite add up to me. There's a red herring. Dangerous encounter. Unexpected ally. Admitting he bought a bunch of donut holes from an anonymous seller to boost his business. Not knowing they were stolen. I'm going to say I don't believe this. So, okay. 01 with this kind of prompt, not stellar outline. Okay, I have one more prompt I want to try here, which is a literary fiction prompt. So the premise here is Emma Wallstone is a teenager attending the wedding of her father, who's remarrying the maid that used to clean their house. And her mom is still alive because GPT loves to be morally good. And so it loves to invent the idea that her father remarried because he's a widow now. And I want him to not be a widow. I just want him to be a normal person. Not that widows aren't normal. You know what I mean? Okay. So my hope is that with the extra reasoning, it's able to do a better job at showing and not telling, which is a pretty important aspect of literary fiction. I mean, all fiction, but you especially would notice that in literary fiction. And I'm hoping that we get some nice imagery. Sunlight filtered through the stained glass windows, casting fractured hues of crimson and gold upon the polished marble floor. Okay, kind of cliche, kind of overworked, but I'll take it. We're in a church. Emma stood amidst a sea of solemn faces. Everyone at the wedding is solemn? Question mark. Her fingers tracing the delicate lace of her dress, each thread a tether to a reality she wished to escape. Pastor's voice resonated through the hushed chapel, a melodic intonation that belied the discord stirring within her. We invite family members to share treasured moments of the couple's journey, sweeping over the congregation like a benediction. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Emma's heart clenched. The woman who once dusted the shelves and mended the curtains of their home, the woman who had, with quiet steps, walked into the chambers of their lives and rearranged the very furniture of their hearts. Cute, but corny, in my opinion. But I don't know. It's cute. It's clever. She felt the weight of expectation pressing upon her, an invisible hand urging her forward. Memories swirled like autumn leaves caught in an eddy, scent of her mother's perfume lingering in sunlit rooms. Distant relative rose. Without fully realizing, she stepped into the aisle. I remember when stories were told in our house, stories of love that endured and promises kept. Her eyes sought her father's, stories my mother shared with us. A stir swept through the guests, a collective intake of breath. The bride's smile faltered. Love was the cornerstone of our home, a beacon that guided us through the darkest nights. I wonder, do we still honor those tales? Do we cherish the bonds that once seemed unbreakable? This is like really vague. It's okay. It's just okay. Let's try 4.0 and see if 4.0 is any better. I'm even curious if 4.0 mini is good compared to this. When the pastor's invitation floated like a feather in the air, tender and expectant, tender's cliche. Emma's fingers clutched the hem of her silk dress, twisting it into wrinkled oblivion. Her pulse pounded in her temples, each throb a metronome syncing with the cacophonous fabric of thoughts unraveling within her. Bit overworked. An illusion of congruence Her father, resplendent in his tailored suit, stood beside the newly adorned bride, whose tremulous smile and lowered gaze spoke of meek triumph and silent rebellion. This is even more overworked. Now, that might be the problem for that, might be my style prompt here. Like maybe my complex sentence structures, introspective narrative, precise diction, sophisticated tone. I could see how it's really just working with my sophisticated tone. So let me judge the word choice a little bit less intensely and focus on the meaning and what happens. This union is a mockery of the values our family held sacred. Her gaze fixed on her father, seeking the man entwined in her earliest remedies of comfort. A woman whose quiet sacrifices pepper our home's history is relegated to a footnote in this tableau of hypocrisy. All right, I think this one's even worse. um, okay, so I do think O1 actually was a little bit better at this one. So overall, O1, I'm not super impressed, and the delay is like not amazing. So I think O1 is maybe for the geeks more than the writers. It's really good at like logic puzzles and math and stuff, but I don't know if it's actually better at writing. In theory, for complex plot structures and things like that, it should be better, but I'm not really seeing that borne out in the results of my test. So let me know in the comments if you see anything that you're attracted to. Let me know if you want to see a video comparing Claude to O1. And just so you know, we're actually launching a new feature in pseudo-write, which is the new prose mode selector. And this gives you a writing sample for each model, and it gives you stats for prose quality, instruction following, and how unfiltered the model is. Also tell you how many credits it'll use, whether or not it's multilingual, stuff like that. So if you're interested in experimenting with different kinds of AI models in your fiction writing process, definitely check out pseudo-write, and hope to see you there. And let me know if you want to see more videos like this when new models drop, and I'll keep making them.